Have you seen the Cybertruck?
It looks like a Nintendo 64 vehicle.
It's a Minecraft car.
Yeah.
And you're telling me this is the future? Bro, Minecraft is pixels. You straight up pixelated a truck.
Imagine showing up at a Home Depot with that. Already, you and I are not people that would ever go to a Home Depot and feel confident.
No. It's probably one of the most terrifying places you could take me.
But imagine that you went there to buy some materials for a project, and then you brought the employee out to help you load it up in your Cybertruck. I can feel the douche chill run through my back as I think about doing that act.
There's one that's in my neighborhood that drives around pretty regularly, and the cops are always stopping it because it does not have a license plate. I've seen it stopped on the side of the road like 8 times, but here's the thing. The cops are like, this is kind of... What is this?
Just a couple of buddies chumming it up.
Yeah, I'm like, they keep on getting away with it, clearly, because there's no license plate on this motherfucker. This looks like an alien device, but, who knows? Maybe that's the future. You don't understand what future technology will look like from the perspective that you're currently in. Like, what was it called? The scooter that you would stand up on? Did we talk about the Segway?
I will always talk about a Segway.
Okay, here's the thing about the Segway. When the creator of the Segway showed it to Steve Jobs literally said verbatim, probably not verbatim, I wasn't there, but was like, this is the future. Every single person's going to have a Segway. Jump cut to Segways just being used for like tours for people that are too lazy to walk in Amsterdam. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. I tried so hard to buy a Segway with my first tax return when I was in college.
Why?
I don't know. I think I just have this curse of like being experienced as a virginal figure or something that I'm like, I gotta be peak dork at all times, no sex appeal. And I thought I would love running around my college campus in a Segway. I didn't do it, so you don't have to feel shame for me. Present day me knows better.
So are you saying that you've evolved away and shied away from the shiny tech?
I'm saying now I would do anything ironically.
It's amazing how irony fixes literally everything.
At least in your own head. I'm sure I'm insufferable to other people as a result.
You're okay.
Kris and Joanna are close friends with nothing in common. To start a weekly conversation, they ask, can I have a word?
Tell me my ironic detachment performance eval.
So here's what I'll say is you love WWE, but like kind of ironically, like, it's funny that I like wrestling.
Technically, I don't like WWE. I like AEW.
Oh, what is it? What?
AEW. It's the one with blood and stuff.
That doesn't make it any better. Okay,
I think that also means I don't ironically enjoy it if I'm correcting you about what wrestling I like.
Yeah, I think you might just fully enjoy it.
Hi, this is Can I Have a Word? Do you know what happens on Can I Have a Word? It's very, very simple. One of us asks the other for a word. They just pick it at random, and then we talk until we're done. Because
me and Kris have almost nothing in common now. If we did not have this on the calendar,
I would have been asleep by now.
Oh my God.
It's only 8 p.m. my time, but I've been asleep.
What is wrong with you? You got to get your shit together.
Hey, Joanna, can I have a word?
I'm going to find it.
If you want. Or do you want me to find it?
I'm so scared. You know what I feel? I feel like our entire life hinges. It's like the butterfly effect. Like this word will change the next hour of our life.
Certainly, if you give me a dud, I'm going to regret being on this call. Do you want me to do the word?
Wait, because I have things
all you have to do is do the prompt if you want to do the word. Or if you want me to do the word.
Kris, can I have a word?
Well, no, put a little. I mean, okay. I don't want to direct you too much.
Ready?
But, yeah, please.
Kris, can I have a word?
Yes, really you can have a word via a random word generator. I have selected.
Oh, I could have done that. What the hell? I was like, I need to find a book.
I was cutting around how you didn't find a word, but okay.
Jesus Christ.
Buffet.
Okay, buffet.
Buffet. I'm going to go out on a limb and say I have a lot more experiences with buffets than you.
Let's pitch each other.
Yeah. Each of us will make our case for why we have more exposure to buffets. I
think that the winner has to take the other one on an all you can eat, into an all you can eat, for an all you can eat, at an all you can eat. I don't even know the preposition.
Okay, I will make my case, which is I come from the Midwest, a place known for many people shoving questionable food down their gullets. all for the sake of quantity over quality.
Oh.
Going out to buffets was a regular occurrence in my family, specifically because my father has it in his head that at a buffet, everybody can get exactly what they want. To which I would argue to my father, that is what a menu is at a restaurant.
It does create the illusion of allotness,
Yes.
of opulence, of look at all of what is at your fingertips. You know, it's visual eating too.
No one's gone to a Thanksgiving where there was a table full of food and said, oh, this looks a little disappointing.
No.
The sheer fact that the table's loaded with food makes you go like, this is going to be a good meal before you even had a bite. And that's what a buffet can do to you from an illusionary standpoint.
Fun fact. So did you know that the most direct origins of the buffet was that it was made in Sweden and it was called Brandvinsvård. And it was actually a pre-dinner table of spirits that included finger foods, bread, cheese, cured meats, and smoked fish. So that's the origin of the buffet, which I don't know if I believe that. Because the buffet is not like, oh, a little cured meat, oh, a little. The buffet is like, here's some mac and cheese. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, okay, here we go. The buffet originally referred to the French sideboard furniture where the food was placed, but eventually became applied to the serving format. Basically, it's just a meal for which different foods are placed on a table so people can serve themselves, right?
I know I have more exposure to buffets because I didn't need to look up a definition about that.
Okay, maybe you're right. But I'm a curious gal. I'm a curious gal.
That's true.
You know how it be.
You're being thorough. I appreciate it. Wait, before we get too far off, what's your background? What's your case for buffet?
Every single party in Latin America had a buffet. Like an enormous buffet and then like an enormous table of sweets. Like every wedding, there wasn't like sit down dinners. It was like just an enormous buffet of food. And it felt very feudal. Like, oh, my daughter is being married off and look at our family. Look at these lobsters we're going to put on the table and look at this, sushi station. And look at these, cheese rolls and look at this,
I know what you mean. You often have this like immediate feeling to just grab everything with your hands when it's in front of you like that.
I enjoy them. I enjoy buffet. I also don't trust myself at a buffet. Buffets, I feel like, are not made for humans. Like,
Go on.
Look at a Carnival Cruise buffet. Look at what people do to their plates. They overserve. They put syrup on everything. It's like the human brain is like, there's food there. I'm gonna take it. And when you give humans too much, they will take. And so I think buffets. I said I was a fan, but because it like awakens something very primal in me.
You enjoy the idea that an experience happens when you go to a buffet, not necessarily that you like the end result of a buffet.
Yes, it feels like a choose your own adventure, which is always fun.
Yes, yeah. The choose your own adventure component, I think, is the main selling point, especially as a kid, that a buffet rules. A salad bar, I learned I just like to eat a lot of ham on a little bit of lettuce. Like, you can make proportions in a way that an adult would never serve you. But the fact that you can always just grab a little bit of cobbler, a little bit of ice cream, or a little yum yum with every single plate that you go up and get is very appealing to a child.
And I went to college at Tufts University, and it was all buffet style eating.
Every cafeteria was a buffet style?
Every single cafeteria was buffet style eating. Frontal lobes are not fully formed until you're 25. You put a non-fully formed frontal lobe in front of a buffet, and you're going cray-cray, girl. Captain Crunch, let's go, baby.
Yeah.
Grilled chicken with some Parmesan cheese on top. Let's do it, baby. Like, it's this, you become, it's hard to satiate.
There's like a compulsion when you sit at a buffet that even if you just want a nibble of a little tiny thing, you should go up for one more plate. And therefore, then you go back and you make sure the plate is full. You don't want to come back with a meager plate. You want to end up like, all right, I came here for a little bit more carrots, but actually what I'm going to get is another pound of mashed potatoes.
Our nature is like, oh, I have to take advantage of this. Like,
yes.
I can't not.
No, I mean, the hunter-gatherer lizard brain is going to tell you, this is why we always eat fatty foods despite the fact we don't need it or whatever. It's like we're hardwired in to take the opportunity to eat something that in nature we weren't going to get all that often, but that was very calorically nutritious for us. Put that in front of us, by like, well, I paid $18 for this meal tonight. I'm going to get my money's worth. And you end up overeating all the time.
I also never like the plate. I'll say it.
Okay.
I'll say it. Every
Yeah.
time I go to a buffet, I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? I sit down. I'm like, I got risotto. I got meat. I got the salad in the middle. Why did I get the prosciutto here? I'm like, what is happening? This is not my job. This is a chef's job. This is a line cook's job. You're giving me the job of someone who knows food. I don't. I'm an animal, baby.
Yeah. It's not your job to be the curator of excellence in your meal consumption.
Thank you.
You know what? This is really tapped into something for me now, because I often am around people that are like, oh, I really like this restaurant. Great. What did you get? Oh, I got a salad and I took this off and I added this on. It's like, okay, you made the meal. Right. The restaurant didn't make the meal for you. I cannot trust whether you had a good meal or not.
When we were kids, and when I was a kid, when you were a kid, buffets, amazing. Why? Bro, you're a kid. You don't have free will. People
Totally.
like gave you a plate of food. It could be fucking tomato. I hated tomatoes. My mom would be like, eat the tomatoes. I'd be like, please God, no. She'd be like, then I guess you'll starve. And then a kid in a buffet is like, oh my God, I have free will. This is free will. I have free will. As an adult, I do not want free will.
Yeah. You want the opposite at this point. And they're like, I have gone too far off the rails. Someone rein me in.
There's nothing more satisfying than sitting at a restaurant and then having them say, I mean, there's a tasting menu and we'll take care of it. Are you telling me you're going to take the emotional load of making a decision off of me? Oh my God, that sounds... Are you kidding me right now?
You're making a very compelling argument for therapeutic prefix.
Therapeutic prefix, baby.
All I want is to go someplace and to be taken care of. I don't want to have to make a single choice. Prefix me, daddy.
I was just at Universal Studios with my niece and nephew.
Wow.
And
you were there as a tourist. I thought you were like being Hollywood on me. And then you said with your niece and nephew.
No, as a tourist. Are you kidding me? It's I'm
maybe
just
you booked some work. I don't know.
Universal Studios and any theme park, billions of dollars go into these things where it's just like a neon hellscape where children are having a fun time and parents are systematically tortured. The kids are having a blast because, of course, their brains are as if they were on shrooms. They see like a character in a cartoon they've seen and they're like, oh my fucking God, that's Luigi. And meanwhile, I'm looking at this guy and I'm like, poor soul in here is schwitzing. It's 93 degrees. Like, I wonder if there's a vent in there, right? So already the experience is, very, very lopsided. But then you have the decision-making process and the thinking about what's next and who's going to wait in line and when are you going to go. And it is like planning a battle for war. That's what Universal, it's like, how can we best take advantage of this day and not have the kids break down? And it felt like disabling a bomb full of decision making.
Yeah.
You know
like
what I mean?
Everything has a particular instruction that you hit to hit just right.
And you know what? We went to the restaurant and they were like, this is what we recommend. I'm like, great. I would not want more choices here. I want to just give me what, I was like, what do you recommend? And they were like, this. I'm like, great, I'll have it. It was terrible. But the sweet, like, taste of not making a decision, take it any day, baby.
So you started a little pro buffet, but now I'm feeling you're talking yourself into a anti-buffet mindset.
I love the idea of a buffet, but then in practice, I don't like it.
Once I hit the age where it was appropriate that I could go ask for a steak at the special steak counter that you were not allowed to go to as a kid. Are you familiar with this?
Not as a kid.
Your Ponderosas, your MCL cafeterias, your buffets of these ilk, they always had a special steak section that cost more than just the standard buffet.
Okay.
And I was never allowed as a kid to go and order the steak.
There was a limit to this Garden of Eden, and that was the apple.
It wasn't that there was a limit, but there was a VIP section, and I was not popping bottles at the Ponderosa. Once you get old enough to do that, then I think something clicks for you to where it's like, oh, none of this was very good or very special. All of this is kind of meh. Why did I do this to myself? I don't know. Maybe that's not fair to say that happens to everybody at a particular age. I think I showed up to adulthood with a certain amount of cynicism that has penetrated my capacity to enjoy these things.
Well, do you think, okay, so there's things that still exist in your adulthood that were exciting in childhood. What's another example of that? Like, what's another example of when you were a kid, you were like, God, this freaking rules. And then as an adult, you're like, please, no.
Being in the Midwest means I didn't have a whole lot of public transit available to me, so I loved a bus ride. I thought it was so much fun to, like, there's a thing to pull to make it chime off, and that, like, you could stand and be in a vehicle. And so anytime I would visit Chicago, I got a big kick out of public transit, and now I want to punt childhood me down a river. That is so stupid. Public transit is just an endurance test. I appreciate its function, but it's not pleasant or joyful anymore.
No, it's like getting blood work done. It's like, I mean, I have to do it, and I'd rather do it than like not know, I'd rather have it, but it's not a pleasant experience. Plus, in the subway, I've seen a lot of blood.
There's a lot. You've seen more blood than you've seen at a blood donation facility.
That is accurate.
Just on the E train.
They should put a blood donation center in the subway.
Now, you say that like it's not the greatest idea you've had yet.
Wait, are you serious? Do you think it's a brilliant idea?
I want you to just imagine taking over one car of the E train, and everybody gets the gray curtains up to like divide and give yourself privacy, and then there's just like apathetic nurses at each area asking for your blood type before they take a pint out of you.
If I were able, I mean, I will never donate blood. Sorry. Unless a friend of mine is like dying.
Wait. I didn't know this because I don't donate blood either. Why don't you donate blood?
When I tell you, when I get blood taken out because I need to, for days before I'm like, I'm gonna faint, and then I'm there, and all I'm thinking about is fainting, and lo and behold, most of the time, I end up fainting. Why?
I don't know the actual reason. There's something about like your blood pressure dropping that you react to. I am also a fainter. I had stopped donating blood long before in high school. I did like a donate blood thing where it was like, oh, I don't have to take a test if I go donate blood. Of course I'm going to go do that. And the experience was just nerve-wracking. I go in, I sit, and the nurse tries to find a vein. It takes her a little bit, and she finds one, and the blood starts going down to the bag.
Stop.
But then it stopped.
Please, God, no.
And then it started going back up.
Nope, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
And I heard the worst thing you could ever hear a medical professional say, which is, that's weird.
Are you a sponge? Are you a goddamn sponge? What are you?
I don't understand. They didn't even give me a good explanation for it. They thought it was odd. But at that point, I was like, if my blood doesn't want to go, I'm not going to volunteer it. Please take this out of me. And I was like, I just have never wanted to go back.
Listen, I applaud people that do it. Just not for me.
No, I'm very uncomfortable with it.
I'd rather donate money. I'm not donating any liquids or contents from my body unless it's like absolutely necessary.
Blood bank's like a vampire buffet.
Blood banks are a vampire buffet. Do you think if a vampire... Wait, but then vampires like the seeking of the... vampires have fun with the...
Do you think vampires have arguments about whether they prefer farm-raised humans or game humans?
I think that the whole concept of the vampire, like the whole... I've never met a vampire, fun fact. But I feel like the whole concept of the vampire is partially the enjoyment of the hunting.
There's an eroticism surrounding vampiric lore.
Yes.
Going for the neck. And like holding them in tight, this like sort of fainting appeal when it happens.
Putting something in someone else's body, liquids being, Kristen Stewart, Robert Pattinson. It's not a coinky dink that there's a lot of sexuality around vampires.
A vampire wanting to eat blood, I guess suck blood from a blood bank is probably akin to when you find a glass of water that's been on a dresser longer than you realized.
Yeah, it's not fresh.
And then you drink it, and then you're like, I'm a little uncomfortable with what that tasted like. I mean, I'm going to finish it, or I guess I won't spit it out. But
I'm not going to spit it out. Like, I know I need this water, but like, would I rather have fresh water?
What's the limit that you will leave water out?
Oh, I have like cups of water everywhere. I'm like that scene in Signs, that girl in Signs that would leave like the water glasses out everywhere. I have water everywhere. If I have the more opportunities of water drinking available, I'll drink it. Like I'll drink stale flat soda that I left 2 nights before.
That horrifies me. That's so disgusting.
Thank you.
I have like a nightly routine of just gathering the various waters and doing one sink purge.
Really?
The idea of like morning after water The whole episode is like privileged conversation of like, oh, buffet is not for me and all this bullshit. But don't give me day old water.
Wait a second. You said you're okay with buffets?
I like them in theory, but like in practice. They never taste that great is the problem. I don't like leftovers for this reason very much. I eat leftovers because I live in the real world and not every meal needs to be amazing. But
a buffet is basically a carnival of leftovers.
It is a carnival of it's someone's leftovers eventually.
We just made a bunch of this stuff, not for anyone in mind. Yeah. Just like for anyone who like wants it. Do you know what I mean?
There's a carefree nature to the idea of just like, I don't know. I was just thinking Cajun chicken tonight.
Yeah. And like whoever wants it wants, whoever doesn't, doesn't.
All right. Here's a good buffet behavior question for you. I know we're bouncing all around, but this one feels streamlined back to the point. What is your level of guilt when you walk past the tray of vegetables nobody's been grabbing?
Well, I find salad bars to be the most depressing places on earth. No one wants to make their own salad. No one wants to be there. Okay? I'm at my salad bar at work, and everyone that's at the salad bar is looking over at the people at the grill where they're just, they're taking like a hamburger. Uh-huh. People at the salad bar are like, what the fuck am I going to do with all these pine nuts? What is the proportion of this balsamic? I'm not going to be able to toss my salad, no pun intended, the way that I want.
Right.
A salad bar is a responsible adulting choice as a buffet, and it is therefore incredibly depressing.
I just hit the age where, let's say I'm at the airport and I'm getting breakfast at the sit-down restaurant, I am inclined to order the oatmeal. I have now hit that age.
Instead of what?
Like the bacon and eggs, or like the heartier, like traditional savory breakfast. Now I'm like, give me the dried cranberry and the almond, sliced almond, but just put that in some pile of mush. That would be my intake for the morning.
Yeah, that there's no world where oatmeal is ever going into my body.
Really?
I hate it. I'm sorry. Like, get your shit together.
Not even like the trendy steel cut of yesteryear?
No, bro. Like, are you a liquid? Are you a solid? Are you sweet? Are you savory? Are you a grain? Are you a mushroom? What the fuck are you? Get out. Get out of here. I don't like it.
It's sort of it is the ditto of breakfast foods. It can sort of be whatever it is you want to be. Well, you don't mind that I dropped a Pokemon reference?
Oh, the ditto. Oh, the Pokemon. Yes. Or the Kirby. Or the Kirby. It could be the Kirby. If we want to get this.
If my oatmeal sucked me up and became an oatmeal me, then we're talking.
When I travel, it's one of my favorite things to see because I'm not a breakfast person. I'm more of a dinner person. And, when I went to Italy, I felt very seen because in Italy, they're like, hey, you drink a coffee and you have a little bite and you leave, which is funny because no one works there. So, maybe that's why they don't need a breakfast. They're like, I'll be eating all day. Who cares? In America, like the breakfast food is psychotically heavy.
Everything is just made to like weigh you down so that you want to just sit in your big car and drive to your big seat in front of your big desk.
Oh, I have a friend. My friend. Our friend Alex.
Yes.
He was like, "Oh man, my cholesterol level's high, and I don't really know why. I eat really healthy." And I'm like, "Okay, well, like, what do you have for breakfast?" And he's like, 2 slices of bacon, 4 eggs. I'm like, what the I'm sorry.
It's balanced. What? I drank some juice.
Like big pieces of protein, like a fucking slab. Like you blew my mind when you showed me your cast iron skillet. I was like, what in the Americas is this?
We're going to contextualize this right now, which is I didn't blow your mind because I made a breakfast with a cast iron skillet. I blew your mind because I had a kitchen tool is essentially what you found nuts.
We went to an Airbnb, a place that already has kitchenware. And you, almost like a cartoon character of an American, were like, I have to bring my cast iron skillet to this 2-day trip. So then you bring your cast iron skillet, and I'm like, what is this monstrosity? And you were like, my cast iron skillet. And I didn't ask anything. You made some bacon on it, and you left. And I went and grabbed
you dirty fucking
a sponge.
Heathen.
And I started cleaning your dirty ass cast iron skillet. And you came out as if your reaction and your face was as if I was like stabbing your loved one in the face. You were like, stop. What is going on here?
There's a particular care pattern for how you take care of a cast iron skillet that your ignorance was messing up.
Okay.
Do you want to know? You don't have to look it up. You can ask me how it works.
Yes, please just explain this thing to me.
This wasn't just a random Airbnb in the city. We were going upstate to a place full of nature with a wood-burning stove, and cast irons have their roots in camping gear and being camping cookware. And so there is like an appeal. Also, many culinary folk use cast irons for specific reasons in the ways it conducts heat and retains heat. And the idea that the pan does not get cleaned with soap, but that you do season the pan, which is what you would also do with a wok or something like that, in order to create a natural nonstick. This is not funny. I'm earnestly right now defending my usage.
Defend it. Defend your dirty little skillet.
It's not dirty. It's seasoned.
Bro, it honestly looked like it like survived Pompeii. You look at bodies from Pompeii, and then you look at your cast iron skillet, and you're like, this came from the same era.
Did you not eat from my cast iron skillet?
I mean, I did.
Was it not pretty good?
I mean, I won't say it was bad, because that would be a lie.
So,
yeah. Okay,
what the fuck are we talking about?
You're right. But I do think the cast iron skillet is a representation of American breakfast, which is like this heavy, greasy metal thing that you just put like meat on and then you eat it.
In high school, I went to a diner in my hometown called Powers. Powers was a 24-hour diner that had maybe like 8 seats in it. A real like you could lift this thing up with a forklift and move it down the block if you wanted to. They made really stinky, tiny burgers, like a White Castle sort of thing. But the reason I went to them was because for breakfast, you could order the garbage breakfast. This was the name of the breakfast. All the garbage breakfast was every ingredient they had for everything else they made thrown onto the flat burner and then scraped up anything that got left on the stove and mixed it in with your meal. Essentially, you were ordering a meal to help them clean the grill.
I mean, what a businessman or woman that thought of this. That garbage meal is what most of American food is. It's like chicken tender. They're like, guys, we took the chicken breast off and the thighs, and now we have this carcass. Let's literally smush it and smash it and then put it into shapes that look kind of organic, even though it is literally just leftovers of a carcass. And people are eating like eyeball and beak.
We certainly are like had to create new parts of the bird that are yummy because we wouldn't eat the ones that feel yucky.
When I went to Peru to do this like a culinary show I did called Para Llevar.
What's that translate to?
Oh, I'll take this to go. I went to this place, this restaurant that's been around for ages, and Peru had crazy inflation in certain eras of its history where it was like, oh, you'd like go out to eat, and then by the end of dinner it was like, oh, this now costs like what your house used to cost 20 minutes ago, and you'd be like, I can't pay this. So people had to like be really smart with the way that they made food, which I think like America's been very smart in the way that they like mass produce food, but this I feel like is very different. It's like, how do I take a chicken and like make 8 different plates out of this, because like we can only pay for one. I want to preface by saying I think Peru has incredible like food. I think it's one of the culinary capitals of the world. I think it's amazing. And now dunk on it. But oh my fucking God, I ate this thing there. I forgot what it's called, but they were like, it's called arakatika. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, yeah, we made it during the inflation. And I took a bite, and when I tell you that it was like a hairy intestine, it was the inside of the intestine. It was like, and I had to like eat it and like and be like, and in my head I'm like, I've never felt like I've been so privileged in the type of food I've eaten. I never had like chicken gullet, or like bull balls. Like I have never had to eat this, and I was surprised at how creative they got in using the food that was sort of available to them. But I was like, also like, I would rather eat a disgusting McDonald's burger that's probably like significantly more toxic and horrible for me than this, because this tastes awful. I mean, all of these sorts of things are like there are certain cultural acquired tastes that you're like, if you grew up on it, it's delicious, and then later in life, once you've made some decisions in your head about what's what, you have a hard time with it. But I will say, I have found nowadays I am much more inclined to try,
I guess for the lack of a better phrase, the bizarre or something that like it runs counter to my culture, if for nothing else, just in spite of the culture I've grown up in, that like everything is just the best cuts of the best meat and everything else kind of goes to the side. Like, I think I'm ready for crickets. I think I'm ready for like organ menus at restaurants and stuff. I think I can do it.
I'll do it with you.
I would love it. There's nothing more upsetting to me than going to a restaurant, or honestly, this does happen at a buffet a lot, where if you go to a buffet that is like a Chinese buffet or something that like has a specific culture assigned to it, nobody in like American guests are going to the authentic cuisine. It's just like there's a line out the door for the burgers and like maybe the stir fry or something. And it makes me so angry that I'm like, it costs you nothing to just try something new this time, and they won't do it.
It's interesting how the States it's a melting pot, and so different cuisines have like risen. Like there was a time where sushi wasn't a thing, and then someone tried sushi and was like, guys, do you guys know how good this is? And then now sushi's everywhere. You got sushis next to dentists and strip malls.
This will be a dividing line for us. Did you ever have an age where the adults around you thought sushi was crazy?
Not in my family.
Yeah.
But Daniel's family, his dad refuses.
Yes.
He's like, that is literal raw fish. Do not put that in your body.
I still have members of my family that is there like that if you say sushi, it's like a hoity-toity word. That still think of sushi as like this beacon of how upper class you are. When I'm like, meanwhile, if I go back to my hometown, there are like a dozen sushi restaurants there. It's like it is normalized, but I definitely grew up with it not being normalized before. And yeah, you're right. Like there's just suddenly this like active campaign against it or something, all because it's not for you, or it's, dare I say, different. But
I do think that I'm gonna give the States credit here. I was in the south of Italy. That's where Daniel's family's from, and like every food was Italian. Sure, you could get a burger, but there's not a lot of like immigrants in the south of Italy from different places.
Right.
And then, you have amazing Korean here. You have amazing Japanese here. Because why? Because people brought it and were like, y'all gotta taste this. And then, they tasted it and now it's like been Americanized. Like people are accepting of it. But like Italians are like so like rigid.
Well, their food has been elevated to a pedestal of excellence, and it brings with it maybe a little bit of arrogance.
I don't know. I think that's French. I think French people are like, we are the best at food. Why would you change all the crème brûlée? And then Italians are like, my mama learned from her mama, and learned from her mama, learned from the mama exactly how to do the tomato sauce. And the tomato sauce, you do it in January because that is when the tomatoes are good. You do not eat tomato sauce when it is not. It almost feels like family and tradition, and like what is right and what is wrong. That's how I feel with Italians. Very funny. Is like Italians are like, oh my god, pomodoro, the tomato, oh my god, yeah, the tomato's Italian, like the tomato's Italian. Bro, the tomato's not Italian.
Yeah.
The tomato is from America. And some people, their pizza before tomato, fucking trash. Sorry, it was bread with olive oil and sardines on it. Like fucking shredded sardines. Absolute trash. Do not recommend.
I think that sounds delicious.
I mean, okay, you probably like it because it's super greasy. And then people were like, oh my God, I brought this tomato from America. And then the Italians were like, oh my God, pomodoro, the pizza, the spaghetti. And it became theirs. Mm-hmm. But like, tomato was not theirs. Tomato wasn't the Italians. Tomato wasn't the Italians.
Just to clarify, what Joanna is saying is that the Italians are liars and thieves.
Aren't we all?
I want to close on just an idea that
I'm scared.
If you were to make like a pop-up buffet in your home, here are the things that I just made, and I hope people will eat it. What would be the 5 things?
You know what I just realized, Kris?
That you don't know how to cook 5 things?
I mean, yes, but that's not. I've been shitting on buffets. My favorite food is basically a tiny buffet, which is a charcuterie board.
Oh, yeah.
I need a moment. A charcuterie board is a form of a buffet. So to answer your question, it would be jamón serrano, two or three different types, do cheeses count as one item? Or?
Speak to your heart.
So like a dried jamón serrano, a goat cheese, a hard cheese, a soft cheese. This all counts as one. Pickles, but then cornichons. And then, can I have more? Fig, crackers. I think that's what I'd want. Which is, I'll admit it. I admit that I'm deviating a little bit from the concept of a buffet.
What we're taking away from this is that your buffet is just things that you can pre-buy at a Whole Foods and then put on a board really fast.
But you don't know how beautiful my boards are.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there a skilled hand at play in the plating?
Are you kidding me?
I'm aware that in the world of charcuterie, there's a skilled hand. I'm saying, is Joanna Houseman a skilled hand?
I'm a skilled hand. Just like how Central Park was made by that architect to make it look like it was natural, but it was absolutely, totally, and utterly planned. That's how I take my charcuterie boards. You're like, did this just befall onto this wooden structure?
Did I find this brie in nature?
It looks like a little scavenger hunt. I make it look very like natural with a little grape, I'm pretty good at charcuterie plates. Okay, I know I'm Latina and I'm Jewish, but I am a glorified white girl in some instances, like my cold brew and my charcuterie plates.
You'll own your basicness.
I'll own it. I love a charcuterie plate. Sue me. Okay, now you go.
I think I would have to do things that I know that I could cook quickly and be satisfying, and also speak to like earnestly who I am. So one is a dish that I just know to be called chicken crescent. All chicken crescent is an entire thing of crescent dough for crescent rolls, if you're familiar.
Oh, like the Pillsbury?
Yeah. Like a phyllo dough would be a classy way of calling this, but like a crescent dough rolled out with a brick of cream cheese mixed with shredded chicken and ranch seasoning. And then you make it into one roll and bake it, and then you serve it. So that's one thing.
That is an insane one thing, because that's 7 things in one. But I will.
It's
I
very
will let
rich.
You. Jeez. Okay.
I think I would. It would be foolish not for me to make something Japanese. I cook a lot of Japanese in my home, so I'd probably have a little bit of like a sukiyaki hot pot number where there's different meats and veggies and mushrooms and tofu boiling in a stock, but it's like a burner on the table that you then have to like put your pieces in, pull them out. So I'm making it a little bit of work, but I would probably do a sukiyaki. Not paired well with. I'm not thinking of pairing at all, by the way. Very different. I'm just giving you.
I mean, this honestly feels like a child picking out buffet items. So we're going back to our roots. Okay, continue.
Corn dogs.
Of course.
Because it's important to have food that you can hold with your hand. And also, it's a food that then makes somebody do my favorite thing at a buffet, which is instinctually fight against wanting to grab it from the burner and instead having to use the tongs.
Oh, so you like making people feel like they have to follow societal norms while they eat, even though their guttural caveman instinct is like, I want to grab with my hand.
Well, and furthermore, a corn dog has a stick. You could just grab it and still be sanitary. And yet, I did leave the tongs out, and I do insist that you think about the tongs.
Because you like structure. You like rules. Okay.
I do like structure. I do like rules. Fourth thing, in as an ode to my Ponderosa days, I have now bought a soft serve ice cream machine. And there's now an entire. I did not actually do this, Joanne. I'm talking hypothetical.
Oh, okay. I was like, my God.
I appreciate the lack of integrity you believe that I have towards being a functioning human being.
I would not be surprised if you told me you bought a soft serve.
Whose convenience is that for? I still have to make the soft serve. That's harder than making ice cream.
Kris, you are not someone who's like, what's an easy hobby? You are someone who's like, there's this Japanese robotics team that created an impossible thing to build. And in my spare time, I'm trying to prove them wrong by building this fucking, I don't know, magnetic robot that has no function. I think that's something you would do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I mean, just useless effort.
Fifth thing would just be a tray of all the random noodles I have left in the pantry that I boiled.
I mean, I want to yes and you and say like, hey, I'm your friend and I care for you and I love all your ideas.
But
I absolutely love this.
Thank you.
Because you don't do a buffet to make it feel like you could have a normal meal. If you're going to do a buffet, go crazy.
No combination of these 5 things I suggested Do you put on a plate, walk back to your table, and you look sane?
No, you look insane. You look either like a child or like maybe you need lithium. And I think and that's why I like this idea, because I want to go to a dinner party where everyone is aware that everyone looks insane. And because, we live in a society with rules and this and like, everyone has dietary restrictions and everyone has this. And I just went to a dinner party where there was like, it sucked. Two of the people ate like air and all of us had to fucking suffer. And with your buffet,
come on down to TGI Lithium.
TGI Lithium.
Have yourself a yummy meal where no one looks at you with a straight face.
No one judges your crazy plate. When you're here, you're crazy.
Have a good night, Joanna.
Have a good night, Christopher Clyte.